Hello and good morning everyone. We are from Group 1 will present the results of our assignment for with science course entitled is Ecology, Succession and Foreign Weeds. But before it, we would like to say thank you for the opportunity given to us. And let us introduce ourselves. My name is Winda Warahmah and my partner is Vina, Sheila, Luthfiah, and Meri.
Definition of a weed. Weeds are plants that grow in places that are not desired by farmers because they can cause a lot of losses, including reducing yields, reducing quality as host plants for pests and disease, causing poisoning to staple crops such as avocado. The losses due to weeds on cultivated plants vary, depending on the type of crop, climate, type of weed, and of course agricultural practices in addition to other factors. Next. Number 1, weed ecology. Ecologically, weeds are plants that come from the natural environment and continuously interfere with plants and human activities in the cultivation of cultivated plants because it can inhibit growth, because it can lead to a decrease in the quantity and quality of production, and can become a nest of pests and disease. Weed growth is fast, has high regeneration power when injured, is able to flower even though its condition is harmed by cultivated plants. Next, the role of plant ecology is that in fact plants have existed and lived on the Earth's surface for a long time and have adapted to the existing environment. The environment can be grouped into, among others, first, macro environment. Macro environment, namely environmental condition on a wide regional scale. For example, climate, soil, light intensity, humidity, and temperature. And the second, microenvironment. Microenvironment, namely environmental condition on a small or narrow regional scale. For example, rocks, nutrients, trees, and organic matter. Next. Number 2, plant dispersal pattern. Distribution, survival, growth, and reproduction patterns reflect the adaptation of plants to certain environments. The distribution of plant species can occur vertically and horizontally. Horizontal distribution of plant species is a very complex distribution. In natural communities, each type of plants is usually found scattered randomly, never found a very regular distribution with relatively the same distance from one individual to another, or this condition only exists in agricultural or cultivated plants communities.
Next is weeds special properties. Weeds have a very efficient mechanism due to the natural selection process, while agricultural crops are not as efficient as weeds because they are developed through an artificial selection process. First is the speed of reproduction is quite large, both through vegetative and generative means. Second is have high adaptability and survive in unfavorable environmental. And the third is has the nature of dormancy or can be forced to stay dormant until the environmental conditions become good, so that the ability to survive is very large. The fourth is weeds have a very high competitive power with a strong ability to survive, so they are really able to adapt efficiently. And the last is weeds are pioneers and are greedy. With succession, succession is a process of change in a community that goes in one direction slowly, regularly, definitely directed, and predictable. Succession occurs as a result of modifications to the physical environment in the community and the time. This process ends with a community or ecosystem called climax. Succession is the result of the plant itself, in the sense that different plants in the area times change their environmental, consisting of the soil, vegetation, and microclimate above it, in such a way as to make it suitable for other species than for the plant itself. Next is kind of succession. The first is primary succession. Primary succession occurs when the community of origin is completely disturbed, so it then forms a new community. This process, the community consists of different types of living things from the types of living things from the original community. And the next is secondary succession. Secondary succession occurs when a disturbance to a community does not completely destroy the community's place so that life or substrate is still present before. For example, in shifting cultivation areas, weeds or Imparata cylindrica dominate after the cultivators leave and are difficult to replace by other species.
Okay, next is through the concept of succession in habitats that have experienced severe environmental disturbance. Opportunistic species with wide seed dispersal ability, fast growth, short life cycle will usually emerge and grow as budding buds and occupy empty space not vegetated to not occupy habitat that has been overgrown by adult individuals or other types. Next. Next is the types that will replace the previous type can be determined by one of the following models. The first one is facilitation model. Facilitation model is the entry and growth of new species which then require the previous species to prepare the location for growth. After a favorable microenvironment change, the species are then able to live. This model is often found in primary succession. The second one is tolerance model. Tolerance model is the types that come later can invite and grow into adults even though the previous species still exists. This is because later species can live and are tolerant of limited or minimum environmental or research condition compared to the previous species. Three is inhibition model. All plant species, including those that arrived early, were able to survive despite competition from species that come later. C. Foraging wheat. A definition of foraging wheat. Foraging wheat are weeds that grow outside the habitat and can grow rapidly to take over their new environment. According to the Convention on Biological Diversity, alien weeds are weed species that are introduced or cultivated outside their habitat either intentionally or unintentionally. The species is capable of forming itself, competing and attacking native species in new place.
Next is foreign weed species in Indonesia. Here are some types of foreign weeds found in Indonesia. The first is Acacia nilotica. This type of weed originally came from Africa, which were deliberately imported to Java in 1850. This species was introduced in Baluran National Park with the aim of being used as a hedge for thick forests to avoid fire in the savanna. However, in 1980, there began to be reports of small invasion and they quickly turned into expensive ones. And the second is Austreutherium inolifolium. This plant comes from tropical America, which was imported to the Bogor Botanical Gardens, West Java. This type of weed is commonly found in West Java, while in Bengkulu it is found as a nuisance plant for forestry and plantation areas. Third is Chromolina odorata. The country of origin of this plant is known from South America and Central America. Chromolina odorata is known to be a weed that is often encountered and aggressively in vast field plantation to Ujung Kulon and Pananjang National Parks. The invasion ability of this species is able to suppress the growth rate of other vegetation. Fourth is Eichhornia crescens. Water hyacinth plants intentionally introduced or brought from the Amazon coast to be used as ornamental plants in the Bogor Botanical Gardens like in 1886. However, in a short time, water hyacinth plants can spread throughout Indonesian waters. It is even capable of invading almost the entire surface of Wheeling Swamp. Fifth is Hydilla verticillata. Hydilla is native to the cold and warm waters of the Old World in Europe, Africa, Asia, and Australia. This plant belongs to the genus of the aquatic plant group. It is known that Hydilla plants are found in open waters areas spread over 3 islands, namely Sulawesi, Java, and Sumatra. And the last is Micania micrantha. This plant was deliberately imported while garden is in 1949. Then in 1956, this species was introduced as a plant for ground cover is not part of the legume group in the rubber plantation area. However, in 1976, the growth of this species was able to occupy most of the rubber plantation area, so that is spread widely in agricultural land in East and West Java, as well as in South Sumatra. And the conclusion is ecological definition of weed is pioneering plan of secondary succession, especially on agricultural land. Succession is the process of changing the composition of the species that exist in a plant community over time. Fern weeds are weeds that grow outside the habitat and can grow quickly to take over their new environment.
Okay guys, that's all about our presentation. We would like to say thank you for your time and your attention. And if you guys have a question about our presentation, you can put it on WhatsApp group. For your attention, we say thank you.